been looking for my fox friend here, as it's Dreamy Storytellers time. And Bella has chosen a book that she enjoys reading even as a 7-year-old. It's about 5 naughty fox cubs whose mummy goes looking for chicken for supper, and they get into all sorts of trouble. A charming tale. Let's join Bella as she reads to us Chicken for Supper.
Chicken for Supper by Carrie Weston Sophie Fatus. On a clear moonlit night, Mummy Fox kissed each 5 of her children goodbye. "We will have chicken for supper tonight," she said. The little foxes licked their lips and their tummies rumbled. "Now don't leave the den when I am gone," warned Mummy Fox. "No, Mummy, we'll be good, Mummy," sang all the 5 little foxes together. Then they waved their little white paws as Mummy Fox disappeared into the night. The 5 little foxes all huddled together: Tufty, Mufty, Rusty, Misty, and Rag. They waited, and they thought of chicken for supper. They waited, and they waited. "Let's go and play," said Rag. "But Mummy said not to leave the den," said Tufty. "What if we just poked our noses out?" suggested Mufty. "It's very dark out there," squeaked Rusty and Misty together. The 5 little foxes waited some more. "Well, I'm off to have fun," yelled Rag suddenly as he darted out of the den and into the night. His brothers and sisters watched him go. "Mummy will be cross," said Misty. "I do hope he'll be all right," said Rusty. "Maybe we should follow him," said Tufty. Each little fox crept nearer and nearer to the hole in their den. They sniffed the air. They looked at each other. Then, one by one, they leapt out into the night. First Tufty, then Mufty, Rusty and Misty. "Whee!" they shouted as they slid down the bank after Rag. They rolled, they romped, they jumped, they tumbled, they crept and leapt. Suddenly Tufty stopped. "Just look at our muddy coats," she said, "and our dirty white socks." "Let's just go a bit further," pleaded Rag. "It's so dark," squeaked Rusty. "And scary," whispered Mystery. "One of us could get lost," said Mufty. "One of us could already be lost. I can't see a thing," laughed Rag. Misty put her paws over her eyes. "Oh no," she cried. "One of us is lost in the dark." All of the little foxes began to weep. "One of us is lost in the dark," they wailed. Tufty wiped her eyes and sniffed. "I'm the oldest," she said, "so I shall count us all." The little foxes lined themselves up in front of their big sister. She tapped each of their noses in turn as she counted. "1," she said, tapping Mufty's nose. "2," she said as she tapped Rusty's. "3," she went on as she tapped Misty. "4," she said as she got to Rag. Then she stopped. "4," gasped Tufty. "I've only counted to 4. Oh dear, one of us is lost." The little foxes wailed and wept some more. Then Mufty dabbed his nose. "Let me count," he said. "I'm the second oldest." The little foxes all lined up in front of Mufty. He tugged each of their tails as he counted. 1, he tugged Tufty's tail. 2, he grabbed Rusty's tail. 3, he gave a pull on Misty's tail. 4, he yanked Rag's bushy tail with the white top. "Oh my buttons," wailed Mufty. "We used to be 5 and now we're only 4. all the little foxes' wailing grew louder and louder. "Mummy will be so cross," whimpered Misty. "I wish I knew how to count," wailed Rusty. Then there was a rustling noise, a flapping noise, a clacking noise. Quack, quack. Then Mrs. Chicken appeared from under the bush. "Cluck, cluck, cluck," she said kindly. "What's all this crying?" "One of us is missing," sniffed Tufty. "Our mummy told us not to go out," cried Mufty. "We used to be 5 and now we're only 4, stuttered Rusty. "One of us is lost in the night," wept Misty. "This is all my fault," wailed Rag. Mrs. Chicken clucked and fussed over the little foxes. She brushed the mud off their fine red coats. She combed out their whiskers. She blew all their noses and wiped their eyes. There, there, there," she clucked softly as she checked their paws. Then Mrs. Chicken gently stood the little foxes in a row. She patted each of their heads as she counted out loud. 1, she patted Tufty first. 2, then Mufty. 3, next Rusty. 4, and Misty. 5, there. She patted Rag last. "You found one of us," yelped Tufty. "You saved us," barked Rag. Thank you," yelped all the little foxes at once. Mrs. Chicken led them to their den. "Come along now," she clucked. "Hurry, hurry at the back." The hole at the top of the den was dark. "Won't you come in with us?" said Rusty. "We're scared," said Misty. "Please," begged Rag. "Well, just for a minute or two then," said Mrs. Chicken. Deep, deep down into the hole she went. At the bottom of the den, 2 eyes gleamed. Sharp white teeth sparkled. Whiskers twitched. A wet nose sniffed the air. "Mummy, Mummy!" yelled all the little foxes together. "Where have you been?" said a worried Mummy Fox. The little foxes began talking at once. Mummy Fox listened to their story as she stirred a steaming pot on the fire. "We're hungry," said Rag at last. "I'm not surprised," said Mummy Fox. "And all I've brought are vegetables from the farmer's field." "Yup, yup, woof, how, yip, yip." Mrs. Chicken looked at Mummy Fox. Mummy Fox looked at Mrs. Chicken. "But I've made lovely soup," smiled Mummy Fox, "and there's plenty to go round." Mummy Fox stirred the soup and Tufty counted out bowls for each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the little foxes did have a chicken for supper that night, and she enjoyed the soup very much indeed. Good night. Bye-bye.